Yes, guys, welcome to this episode of Rio Presents. I'm here with my two main squeezes, Mr. Beya and Steve Howson. How you doing, guys? There's loads to get through this week, man. But we can't start anywhere else but the Michael Owen interview. I'm sure you guys have seen it. It's been everywhere. What's your thoughts, guys?
Finally, Michael Owen has spoken like the true G that he is. Well done, Michael. Well done. Good stuff, man. Rio, you enjoyed it, innit?
Well, it's one I've wanted to do for a long time. Obviously, I've known Michael for years and years since we were like kids. But I've always wanted to interview him because I get to see a different side of him in the green room when we're traveling, when we're in the bar after games and whatnot. And I think he gets a bad rap for who he really is. What I said to him is, I think I'm only interviewing you if you've got the Ballon d'Or sat between us. The Ballon d'Or is sat there. I know that brings a different energy. It brings an energy that I know exists within Michael, and I thought he'd done that really, really well, to be honest with you. Steve, I'm seeing a bit of apprehension from Steve.
I enjoyed it, and I thought you're probably the only person that probably might have been able to get that style of interview out of him.
Agreed.
But it didn't change my perception of him.
What is your perception and what did it not change?
I think he's boring, mate, and I think he's so fixated on what he did as a teenager. Yes, you got injuries, but you never develop your game. Ryan Giggs was someone that relied on pace, and they adapted their game, became a different footballer, became world class in arguably two positions. You know, yes, injuries happen. You've got to be able to adapt. And talking about how good you was at 17 and trying to compare yourself to Wayne Rooney, different players.
Yeah, but
totally different players. Wayne Rooney, when he was asked to go and score goals only, scored goals. You know, Michael fixated on goals, but offered nothing else to the team. I think if Rooney had just been told to go and score the goals, as he proved in 2010 after Ronaldo left, he could have gone and scored the goals.
Just on the two players you mentioned, Ryan Giggs and Wayne Rooney, changing and evolving. They change and evolve because of age. And when they were asked to change and evolve at that age, they're experienced, seasoned players. He's getting asked to change at 22 years old. It's very different. It's a very different ask, a very different kind of way in to the next phase of your career and playing a different position and adapting. Yeah, I agree. But Michael Owen, Wayne Rooney and Giggs had the ability to change and play a different way. I still don't think probably Michael would have been able to do that in the latter stage of his career to the level that they done. But when it's being forced upon you for injury, I think it's a very different kind of way into that.
That's fair.
But why I wanted to interview so much is because I think a lot of people forgot just how good and how devastating a player Michael Owen was. I think this has been a sharp reminder for people to go back and look at the archives, and he's in the conversation when you're talking about great teenagers.
Agreed. And the thing is with the interview, Rio, it's everywhere, bro. Like I've been sending you links and clips all week because it was a surprising one for me because I wanted it to go far. I wanted people to see it, but I didn't expect so many people to see it.
Do you know what it's done, Joel? The reason I've kind of stepped away from doing the live football and spending more time doing this and honing in interviews and stuff is I really want to be able to see a different side to the players when they come on. Yeah. I think Harry Maguire was the start of that this season, and Michael Owen's a continuation of that, and we want to keep that going because we want it to be a space where the players feel, you know what, actually we're going to be our true self and not have to speak like we're speaking quite guarded after an interview, after a game, and they've got the cameras and the mics shoved up under their nose. This is a bit more of a relaxed environment. I hope that the guys that are watching it can see that a little bit with the players and the way that they're coming across.
And we need you to keep the same energy on this show, Rio. We don't want to see impartial Rio. But then at the same time, I was with Michael Owen, guys. I was with him until he said something specific. You were talking about England and international managers and how it's really different when, I mean, it was basically based on, can you reiterate for us, please, Rio? Because I want this.
Yeah, no, what he was saying, he said that he thinks that the whole England team and setup and the team behind the team should be English. So it makes it more patriotic and it makes it more of a England versus if they're playing France. All of their staff, all of their managers and management team players are all French. And he was quite adamant about that. What's your thinking of that, Steve?
I think as a broad sort of idea, it makes sense and you understand where people are coming from. But when you go, well, what about some of the smaller nations? How do they catch up? What about Weigman with the England women's team? You know, she's Dutch. Does that mean that don't count no more? Does that mean that you have to go away from that? And where do you end it? You know, where's the parameters? Can the club doctor be foreign, or do they have to be from the nation as well? Does it have to just be the manager? Can he have one of his assistants? What about one of the goalkeeper coaches? Like, where does the parameters end? What about the kit that you're playing in? Do England have to go back to Umbro?
Yeah, was it made? It's true. It's true.
I don't think he was wrong with his statement, by the way. I'm saying that I was with him until you said, who would you see as England manager? And he said, Steven Gerrard or Frank Lampard. I'm like, my God, Michael. Like, honestly, if he had said Eddie Howe, I'll say, all right, fair enough. You said Eddie Howe, Rio. I saw your reaction to it. And
I think Eddie Howe's the most qualified Englishman. If you're going to go pure Englishman who's currently managing right now, I think to go in. If an England manager came up and it had to be English, I'm looking no further than Eddie Howe, 100%, based on what he's done.
And I agree with you, because I asked one of my friends, Jide, I said, Jide, like, what do you think of this statement? He goes, he hears it, to be honest with you, because he doesn't know how he would feel if there was an English manager leading Nigeria. And I was just like, all right, cool. I hear what you're saying.
So if I was leading Nigeria out as manager of the World Cup and we went and won it, the Super Eagles went and won the World Cup under my stewardship, do you think anyone in Nigeria would care?
No, that's different. You wouldn't care. I don't know, they wouldn't at all. It's about winning, innit? But
That's what I mean.
Who was the manager for Greece? Wasn't he German in 2004?
Yep.
I think they care.
Nah, I didn't even know that, if I'm honest with you, Steve. Like, I didn't even know he was German.
I think if you win it, like if Thomas Tuchel wins, do you think anyone's going to care?
Nah,
Well,
hell
hang
no.
on. You played for Spence and Capello, right? So what did you feel like playing for those guys?
Yeah, I'll answer just quickly. Also, I think the point still stands that is it hindering the development of our coaches and pathways into being the England national team if you've always got a foreign coach who's going to be there? That's the point I think Michael was saying. We've got players that are leaving the game and going into coaching that are going to have no chance of being the England manager because we're always going to go and pick the wise and wonderful.
We've got no
from
chance of being
elsewhere.
an England manager because they're not good enough managers.
Okay, that's your fault. That's your thoughts. Go on. What was the question?
Well, it's also the thoughts of every chairman who sacked him.
Yeah, well, and his point is, okay, maybe not so much with when Frank was at Chelsea and Stevie was at Aston Villa, but the jobs that they've taken around that have been jobs where they've not played and plied their trade. So he's saying they're never going to be as good as somebody that knows that league inside out and plays in that league. That's what Michael Owen's saying.
No, but the reason why he's wrong there is because if, for example, he was talking about strictly club football, I'll say, okay, I can hear what he's saying. But international football, I think it's a little bit different. I think if there was someone that's good enough, they wouldn't hesitate to bring in an Eddie Howe or a Steven Gerrard.
Of course. Look how long they persisted with that bore-fest with Southgate.
Yeah.
Like, if there was anyone good enough, they'd have got someone good enough in. But there's literally, you're looking at a pool of nobody to pick from.
But just go back to your question about playing for Sven and Capello. I was actually with Capello the other day. If you've not seen the Rio vlogs, Capello's with me in Hong Kong last week. We had a good time. Him and his wife are great people. But he's actually mellowed out a lot as well because he's quite a hard guy, man, before. But he's really quite mellow now and likes to laugh. But yeah, when you had a foreign manager come in, I just wanted to win. As a player, I just thought when Sven came, he's got a great reputation. He's going to catapult us into winning. Same with Capello. He's managed the great teams in Real Madrid and AC Milan, and you're going, oh my God, he's won the Scudetto, etc. He's gonna bring us some new ideas. We're gonna win. Never materialised. Both of them just fell short. So, and I think the players will be the same right now. If Thomas Tuchel, they'll have all been ringing Reece James, Mason Mount, etc. What's he like, guys? What's he like? Yeah, he's great. We won the Champions League. They're never going to say a bad word about him, Reece James and Mason Mount. But he's in there now, and he's under a bit of pressure now because everyone's going, oh, the team aren't functioning as well as they were before, and it doesn't look the same, and etc. But I've said this before. I don't want it rosy now. I don't want it at its best now. I want it to be getting into its best groove by the time this summer comes around and the World Cup's going to be kicking off. But also, I look at these games and you see Andorra, for instance. I played against Andorra. I think I did beat them a few goals to nil or whatever it was. I don't think you learn a thing about any of the players other than can you finish? Can you be clinical in front of goal? They don't ask you no questions. The games are rubbish. I wouldn't be sitting there as a news reporter and going, I'm going to learn loads now about Madueke and Eze in this game. You're not. This ain't where you're going to be testing them.
You're not, but do you know what was poor as well is that they were poor in front of goal. It's the amount of opportunities missed.
Yep.
I just thought was a bit disappointing. I think Eze had a few, Rashford had a few. They should have really been tucking them in. It should have been a 5-0 scoreline. Do you think they should be worried with the fact that they weren't as clinical, Rio?
No, not at all. Because you see them week in, week out. These boys normally finish these chances, so it ain't like it's just this game. Like it's not, I swear I'm not judging the players based on these type of games against minnows. I'm sorry, unless we're getting opened up and getting battered. But I'm sorry, you just can't. I can't judge them. So
Look,
just move
Andorra are a semi-pro level team.
Yeah,
Literally.
I reckon.
Right?
I reckon your team would give them a good going.
No, they wouldn't.
Well, on a genuinely serious note, I asked. There's a guy called Omar that runs a data analyst company called 21st Club. They only have records that go down to, I think, step 3 or 4, which is a few levels above where we are. And they said the likes of San Marino are about 20, 30 places lower than Andorra. So Andorra maybe not. Andorra might be like your FC United sort of level. But he said San Marino are as far away from the bottom of what they rank, which was down to step 2, I think, which is like National League North and South. Why did that look like 2 teams in the same league? Because realistically, you should be putting 10 past teams of that level. And I know me and you have covered this before, Rio, where you said, actually, it's hard. But why is it hard? Because it shouldn't be hard.
It's the same question you have in the FA Cup every year. Why are there giant killings?
Yeah, but there are not that many giant killings anymore. There's this myth that giant killings exist. They're really, really, really rare.
No, but there's giant killings and there's still tough games. Like, how many times you see like Grimsby go and get a draw at a Premier League team or beat a Premier League team recently, or like these lower league teams make it hard. Like their duty isn't to come there and just open up and say, right, how many are going to slot past us? Their duty is to go there and make it difficult. So it is.
Grimsby are an EFL team. They're a full-time professional team.
But
talking 4 or 5 leagues lower than that.
Michael Owen said it on the pod as well the other day. He said about that it's easier to destroy and stop than it is to create. It's true. He's right in that sense. If you just set yourself up and don't come out and just say, listen, we're going to sit here with 11 men behind the ball, go and break us. You could put under 16s England team there against the first team England team. It'll be difficult.
Yeah, teams who sit back, it does work, doesn't it?
Yeah, and this is what these teams do. Andorra ain't coming out and playing like firing, flowing football and attacking football. They're sitting in, waiting to be beat, but hoping it's only 1 or 2. And that makes it difficult.
I just think England missed so much. That's what made it look closer than what it was. It wasn't their playing.
They didn't even have that many shots.
But still, though, if you see the chances, Steve,
there were clear-cut chances. There were some clear-cut chances, but this happens. I don't even know why we're spending time on it. It's not even worth the breath we're breathing talking about it, because it has no kind of impact on going forward. I'm telling you.
Do you think there needs to be a change made to the way qualifications exist? I know that the Nations League was brought in so you had the likes of Andorra and San Marino have competitive games and they're not just getting their arse handed to them week in, week out. But are these qualifiers in the format that they're in almost not fit for purpose? Because how many times do you see that the top seeded club just wins all bar one of the games?
Yeah, but it's participation at that point. It's like you got to give everyone a chance.
But why doesn't the FA Cup do that then? Why doesn't the FA Cup start everyone in August and do that? Why does the FA Cup have tiers and rankings for the higher rated teams to come in later? And that still works. These games are a waste of everyone's time.
Yeah, I see your point. Maybe the minnows should play qualification process before they get to where they meet all the seeded teams.
They'll learn more from that than they will just getting dicked by England.
Yeah, I get that, but also it's about giving people or countries that have got no real chance, the opportunity to see a Cristiano Ronaldo, to see a Lewandowski. Do you know what I mean? It's still giving people and fans around the world a chance to see those players. If this happens, when does the kid the other day who's standing in front of Cristiano be able to sit there and tell his people that and have that as a memento for life? Everyone does need opportunities when you look at it that side as well.
I agree with both of you. No, yeah, I think you're both right.
Too
You
nice,
know,
isn't it, that, Steve? It's too nice.
I agree. You're both right. I want to move it on though to something I know Steve's probably going to be interested in. It's the Reece James versus Trent Alexander.
Oh, baby.
I want to
This is
know
the
what
Steve Told You So section.
this. You might as well call it the Steve told you so section. But I want to know when you're looking at Reece James's attributes, why are they more useful than Trent's attributes to Tuchel?
Well, on an old pod we done at Steve's studio, actually, in Manchester, Carl Walker came down, didn't he? And Carl Walker alluded to the fact that he thought Reece James was the most complete right back around at the time. And that's coming from probably arguably the Premier League's best right back. I think there's games that you could play Trent and games you go for Reece. I think Reece defensively is better. I think Reece's all-round game is more complete. I'd agree with Carl Walker. I think there's less holes in Reece's game. I think Reece's only problem that he's had in his career is availability because of injuries. And that's been a big issue for him. But I think now at the moment, touch wood, he's actually playing. He's going to get a consistent run of games, hopefully, and there's not going to be any more injuries. But Trent has always been a question mark defensively. And I've always backed him. Steve's obviously always been there to punch the holes and nails in the coffin with him. But for me, what's been frustrating with Trent is that I've actually seen him lock down some of the biggest, best, and most dangerous wingers at times, and so I know it's in there. So I know it's just a matter of focusing on defending in games, especially the big ones. Well, it's not every game. Focusing. I've said this before. Trent reminds me of me a little bit. Everyone talks about how good you are with the ball. Different. But Trent's great pass. He's got all the attributes passing. He can unlock a game from right back. No right back passes the ball like him, etc. But when you're that good with the ball, but you're a defender, you have to focus on defending because you're not naturally a defender first thinking defender. So you have to focus a bit more to make sure you're on it. The moment you go into a game as a player, this is how I used to go into. If I was thinking about taking on a striker and not thinking about my defensive responsibilities, that's when I used to come unstuck and I used to get done every now and again because my mindset wasn't focused on defending my first job. But I think if Trent does that, I think he becomes unstoppable. He's unplayable. But I think far too often, I think he thinks about how I'm going to impact the game with the ball rather than defending first. And I think that's the difference. Reece, I think if Reece is fit, he's in the top 2 best right backs in the world right now, and that's with Hakimi.
I'll just ask you this, Rio. Who would you rather have played with?
Rio, please. We just need a straight answer.
I'd go Reece.
How many times do you think, put yourself in some of those Champions League games where Trent's walking as you're trying to deal with 2 attackers when you've been 2v1'd in your own box and he's standing on the edge of the box, just walking, looking at the floor, because that happened a lot in the Champions League. What's your reaction to those things after you've either dealt with whatever the threat was or you've conceded a goal? I know you're going to absolutely light him up, aren't you?
Yeah, if anyone in my team is who I feel ain't putting it in, they're getting it. In the game, half time, full time. Wazza was the perfect example. Every other game, me and him would be going at it because I'm not happy with something or he's not happy with something. But
so do you think you're going to be sitting there saying, yeah, do you know what? He absolutely tossed it off while we got countered then. But I'll tell you what, he put her in a really good corner in the first half.
There are some players, when they're that good in one part of their game, you do allow them. Like Cristiano, he didn't defend for us, and it's a different end of the spectrum, I know, and he's an attacking player. But Darren Fletcher, go and do who he's running. Owen Argues, go and do his running. Carrick, go and do his running for him, because we know he can produce. And Liverpool players will tell you that Trent produces moments that turn games for him, and so they don't mind.
And it depends which corner you're talking about, because if it's against Barcelona, mate, then yeah, the answer is yeah, you don't mind.
Yeah, set piece delivery. 1 in 11 will hit the target, and that's the one everyone remembers. They don't remember the 10 that he shinned in or something.
Yeah, because that's the one that helped win.
I think his averages are better than that. I've got to be honest with the ball. But what I would say,
reckon, because I know the stats.
Wait, I think the onus is on the player first and foremost. But then I think there's other players in the team, especially who's playing behind. Kanate plays around him a lot of the time, to be getting onto him and going, listen, iron this out now. We need this sorting out. But they did set up their team to be able to accommodate any weaknesses that he had in his game. And listen, you have to be honest, in the last 30 odd years, it's been the most successful period in Liverpool's history, and he's been a big part of it.
Not a bad position to go to in it then, Rio. So if you could potentially be going to the World Cup with Reece James, if he's fit, hopefully, um, maybe Trent for those specific type of games or those part of games, and then you got the young bloods coming in like Livramento. Would you still have Kyle Walker in the squad, or do you reckon?
If you're going to play three centre backs, I would. But if you're not going to have three centre backs, then no, I wouldn't. I think Djed Spence is now prime and ready to take over the Kyle Walker role. Can play right and left back, and if you had to play three at the back, you could play right at the free because he's so quick, he can cover everything. He is the number 1v1 defender in England, in the England team squad right now. No one comes near him.
I want to move it on to Onana leaving Manchester United. Guys, this has been a subject of debate over the last few days. Obviously, the Turkish window is
Debate?
still open.
You think it's been a debate?
Well, yeah, because let me tell you why it's been a debate. Because some of the fans reckon that the player should be supported more, etc. Yes, his performances haven't been good overall, but it's probably the treatment of the player that's been the debate. You've got some parts of the fan base that are like, you need to treat your own players better. You got some people like Flex saying, get him out now. So, what's your thoughts? Is it a good loan move for him? Good loan move for Manchester United?
I think Omar, who's running the football operations at the football club, I think he has made the point that they're not going to have players sitting around that aren't worthy of being at the football club anymore. They're not going to have players that either aren't good enough, haven't performed well enough, or are not the right people to be at the football club. He's not going to have them around like bad smells. And I think for far too long, we've had that at the football club. We've been forced to keep players at the football club because of bad financial situations that the club have put us in with players, and had to keep them here and had to sit with them and had to suffer some of these players. So I think this is a step in the right direction. And I think, I said this the other day on the pod, as happy as I am with the players that are coming in and providing a difference in terms of speed, dynamism, pace, etc., and got a goal for it, I'm as pleased, if not more, with the way they've got players out of the football club who the club deemed not the right players they wanted to be at the club. I think it's that side of it has been as important, if not more, than even the incoming players, because I think it sends out a fantastic message and a strong message to the players that are there. You ain't hanging about here if you ain't what we want. And that's what it should be like at every football club. If you're not right for the football club, you've got to get out. And that's why I'm so strong. And if a player doesn't want to be at a club and he wants to go, he should be able to go. He should be able to force and say, listen, I want to go. I think it should work both ways, because I think far too many people in the media and the people that are writing the stories go, oh, a player has to act a certain way, has to act a particular way. Well, the club, Man United, don't want these players. And I'm championing, get them out. But it's got to work the other way as well. So at Isak, and Mark Gay, go on, get out. Get yourself out of them clubs and go on to do what you want to do. The clubs are doing it and they'll continue to do it. So why is it not right for the players?
Agreed. Steve, before I get on to you, I just want to point out the fact that there's a no buy option or loan fee, and he was signed for £47 million. Reports are saying that he'll double his money out there. What's your thoughts on the situation?
I thought the Bayern Day taking over the number one shirt at the start of the season, especially when Amorim came out and said, this isn't an injury, this is my selection. I thought that was always a little bit suspect, because I've never really been convinced with Bayern Day. And I thought there might be something else at play here. And then it broke like the back end of last week that over the summer sometime, Onana went and knocked on Amorim's door and it was like, hey, you know that Champions League money? Any chance I can get it back? Any chance I can have a new deal? Now, I wonder what Amorim's response was, whether he just stared at him, whether he threw a shoe at him, whether he just told him to leave. I don't know what the response was, but the response as soon as the door shut behind him was clearly to phone Wilcox and Barada and go, get this melon out of my team. And what I actually think is really positive from a United point of view is that I feel like that's happened in the past under the Woodward and Judge sort of regime. And I feel like they've been told, can't do that, mate. You got to keep him in the squad. So this sort of echoes what Sir Alex Ferguson was allowed to do. I think all managers want to do it. I think Jose would have wanted to do it. We know Jose wanted to do it. There was some big names he wanted to get shut of, Pogba and Shaw, etc. I think Hollywood wanted to have done it, but they didn't have the authority to do it because they didn't have the backing of actual football people in the board. And I think that's the big kicker that we've got at the moment, is that mistakes that have happened, certainly under the previous regime, are not being allowed to fester at the club anymore. We are taking decisive action and we're saying, he's not the right fit. Cool. He ain't right fit for us either. Off you pop.
Yeah.
And that might require cutting your nose off to spite your face. That might require us being a little bit understaffed and unprepared in certain areas. But what we will do is we will find the right stuff, and we will have people that want to come on the journey that the manager believes in. And I think you say that we've moved players on. They're all loans. We've not really been able to sell anyone outside of Garnacho. That's a little bit disappointing from a finances point of view. But the fact that we have moved all bar Malacia on, and he could still go Turkey because their window's still open. The fact that we've moved all of those players on, I think is a broad positive.
Yeah, I don't think it matters that they're alone. Obviously, ideally, you'd like them to be have got transfer fees from, and that would have been great. But I think it's the ambience, the environment at the training ground, match day, etc. I think it's just that soap story on the right hand side can just go now, and those guys are going to go and plough a career somewhere else. Hopefully they go and do well. And I'm of the thought I want them to do well. I'm watching Rashford and thinking, give me that moment. Come on, Sancho, wherever he lands, I want him to give me that moment. Garnacho, go and light up over there. I'm not bothered that if these guys go and do well. I don't look at it like, only what if they weren't doing it at Manchester United. The management don't want them. Have to move on, regardless of how you feel about these players.
That's Højlund gone after 2 years, and Onana gone after 2 years, and Anthony gone after 2 years. I'm sure the Anthony move is what you're looking for, right? Look how well he's been received over there at Betis, in it, Rio. Like, it's actually a joy to see, really, isn't it? To see someone play where they're wanted. Massive shout out to him. But you know what? I want to finish off looking at the Messi versus Ronaldo situation. Rio, I admit.
What year is it?
What do you mean, what year is it? It's 2025, mate. It's going to be 26 next year.
Still having this debate, Messi versus Ronaldo.
Mad, isn't it? It's mad. Have you seen their stats, by the way, from hitting 30? Cristiano's stats, he's scored more goals since hitting 30 than before. It is absolutely ridiculous. 567 games, 479 goals. Messi's got 419 games, 314 goals. Thierry Henry, just to put that into context, right? Thierry Henry, his whole career, scored 417 goals. Like an absolute great, the best Premier League player ever. Got 417 goals. Ronaldo's eclipsed that after he hit 30. It's mental, really, when you think about it like that. Longevity, I think, is just one of the super strengths that Cristiano has. Is you could talk about a lot of things, why he's great, but longevity has to be one of the main things you look at and you marvel at and go, wow, that is what we have never seen before, and we haven't.
And a hunger as well that you've never seen, because if you look at Messi's point, he said regarding the World Cup for Argentina next summer, what he said is, after his final appearance, when I feel good, I enjoy it. But when I don't, honestly, I don't have a good time. I prefer not to be there if I don't feel good. I haven't made a decision about the World Cup, which is contrast to Ronaldo, who said it was the first step taken in his bid to play in a 6th World Cup next year after scoring against Armenia, included an absolute banger.
Joel, the difference is Ronaldo openly, unashamedly would go there on one leg with a crutch on and say, I'm fit to play.
Yeah,
he would, because it's about records, it's about being there, it's about representing Portugal. He loves all that. He's absolutely like embedded in the history of Portuguese football now, but still feels there's chapters to be written. Whereas Messi, I think he's saying that, but Messi will be there, man. There's no way Messi's not going to be there.
Yeah.
Like, whereas Cristiano is very much open that shirt. Superman's here. What are you going to say? And I'm ready for it all. And it's just a difference in personalities and characters and the people that they are. But still, the most driven football players I think we've ever seen.
Yeah, agreed. But Ronaldo might be a bit more driven. Daniel Levy leaving Tottenham. Now, did he leave? Did he get sacked? I mean, reports here say that he was only told in the morning, the news was released that he was going to be gone. Rio, when you're talking about Daniel Levy, a guy that I would love to see on this platform, by the way, we need to try to make that happen. How do you think he'll be remembered when you think about him?
I saw David Pleat said some comments about him today. David Pleat, who still even works at the club, he must be in his 80s now, a legend of the game, for you young listeners and viewers. But he was an ex-manager, and he said something quite important, I think, which is, I think I agree with, that he may not be really appreciated right now, but in years to come, when they look at the state of the club that he left it in, people will go, actually, he done us good in some ways. And I know from a trophy cabinet standpoint, 2 trophies in that tenure is, and you look at all the other clubs, it pales in comparison, all right? It's not as good. It's not where the fans want it to be. They want to be at Wembley winning things and winning league titles, yes. But from a pure business standpoint, the football club is the most profitable club in the league. It's in the best state of any football club in the Premier League. They've got the best stadium in the Premier League. They've got the best training ground in the Premier League. I think when he took over, it was worth 80 million. It's now worth over 3 billion. Like any other business, he is getting an absolute red carpet out of that place, and he's red carpeted whenever he wants to come back to watch a game. It's just because it's football and there's emotions attached to it, and you're judged on trophies and nothing to do with the financial state of the club, is the way I think he's being treated right now by a lot of the fans.
But so let me ask you the question then. If we're talking about Manchester United and you're in the exact same position where you've only had 2 trophies, 3 if you want to count the Audi Cup, and you're asked, okay, Rio, the owners are leaving now, but that's what they've left you with. But you've got the best stadium in the country and you've made loads of money. Would you, as a fan now that you are, would you be happy with that?
I would be sitting here going, the grass may not be greener over there. Like, maybe he just needs better people running the football operations of the football club. Like maybe he needs to give up the being involved in all the transfers and stuff like that. Look at be the overarching figure that just oversees everything rather than having his hands on everything, because it's been proven that it doesn't work in terms of bringing trophies to the football club.
But it makes money though, Rio. So how? Because maybe if you remove him from there.
Yeah, but from a financial standpoint, keep him there at the top. But just take the football operations off him, maybe. I don't know. But this is all hypothetical, and I'm not sure. But can one work without the other without him being there? Can he have his hands over here and not over here? Would that work? They're all if, buts, and maybes. We'll never know. But I think the problem is football fans were emotional. So I might be thinking something different if this was Manchester United. And I'm being honest about that.
Steve, what's your thoughts? Yeah.
So what Levy has done from a financial point of view is make Spurs a powerhouse, deliver probably the best stadium in the country. And I think that there was an element of having to deal with the realities of finances when you guys moved into the new stadium, to the Emirates. Spurs are probably in the lag of that right now. But that stadium was only possible because of the financial manoeuvres that he was a big part of over the last whatever years. But Spurs have been mad profitable for 20 plus years. Spurs have always been a really profitable football club, and White Hart Lane was a shithole, for want of a better word. So them upgrading it to make what is probably the best football stadium in England was a serious move. I think the fundamental issue with Levy and Spurs is that they only ever went for middling players. They never competed with the likes of United, not even really Arsenal, to be honest. Certainly not the Cities and Chelseas and Liverpools for signings. So you end up with middling results. If you don't go for the best players, you don't get the best results. But they also didn't do what the likes of Brentford and Brighton have done, which is have really intelligent, sort of undervalued players that, even Leicester came up behind and overtook them and found undervalued players and managed to win a league title on their watch when they had an opportunity to do something. A few years back, when you're looking at the Modric and Bale, that sort of era of Tottenham, they had a serious football team that probably should have gotten over the line. And it's never quite been anywhere near as good as that, before or since in the Premier League era, I would argue.
That's when you expect the ownership there, like a Levy's, right? We've got the nucleus here of a dominant team here. We need to build a dominant squad.
It's just like you've Vertonghen, Kyle Walker.
Yeah, you've got to go for it. Go for it in moments. I think Simon Jordan said something the other day. I thought it hits that point on the head perfectly, that he was great at selling players because he was emotionless and he was methodical in his business approach to it. But at the times of recruiting and in critical times, he was exactly that. You need to be more of a maverick maybe and take a few risks. Do you know what I mean? And be a bit more impulsive, overthinking things. Do you know what I mean? I think in them moments when you want to go from being good to being great and dominant, there needs to be a little bit of it's like Man United going for Van Persie at the moment to just go. That's an impulsive, calculated in a way, but impulsive and a maverick attempt at snatching the Premier League.
He's only
title.
available for 25 mil. That's not impulsive. That's just Arsenal bad contracting.
No, but it's still having the balls to go and take that player off one of your rivals. Go for it. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. He never really had that or done that. It was always like they got Bale from Southampton. They got Modric. Who knew these guys before they came to Spurs? And he got to a point where actually they were really good and he wanted to go and do that again. How about you go and add seasoned, renowned Premier League or international player on top of them to make them better? That's the difference, I think, with him.
No, I agree. He's definitely a good businessman, but there you go. Anyway, hopefully it doesn't make him better. Guys, I want to say thank you very much.
Should get Ed Woodward if they like money.
Yeah. Guys, I want to say thank you very much for watching Rio Ferdinand Presents today. Like we said at the top of the show, you have to make sure that you watch the Michael Owen interview. Even Steve's watched it, so that's how you know it's some sort of watching it. So please make sure you check it out. There's obviously other interviews on the channel as well that we're doing. We've got the Maguire one, the Mbuemo one. We got Michael Carrick that's come out as well. And please make sure you join the group chat. It is popping off in the group chat. Rio's actually messaging people. There's competitions going out there on the Instagram group chat, that is. So make sure you join. And like, share, comment, subscribe. We're doing some decent numbers, but we could be doing better if you guys press the like button. Okay, subscribe. It really helps out. Rio, have you got any final words for the fans before I sign out?
No, just keep staying tuned. There's loads coming. I'm off to South Korea next week. I'm going to be sitting there with some ridiculous amounts of legends. We went there last year. We're back again. Going to play in a game over there. So make sure you stay tuned and watch the vlog.
Are you playing?
Bro, I'm going out there, bro. I'm out. I'm going to get the boots on. Bro,
Seriously?
you know who signed up? You know they got signed up? They got Gareth Bale's just signed up. Waz has signed up. I think Steven Gerrard signed up. Ronaldinho, Thierry Henry, Drogba. There's some mad names on there. Seriously. I think we're only missing R9 and Zidane. That's it. And you got everyone. Ribéry's out. There's loads.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man. The big guns have been called upon.
Hey, listen, you might
just remember we won it last year, so we're looking to win it again. Defenders against attackers.
Did you contribute a lot last year when you won it, or was it?
Yeah, I played 15 minutes, bro, with a broken down calf.
Yeah, played up front as well.
I was still in the top 5 for man of the match.
Is it?
No. Seedorf was the only one. Seedorf won it.
He's the GOAT, man. He's still top quality. Anyway, Steve, any final words before we sign up?
No, Manchester derby this weekend. Probably on a bit of a knife edge, actually, because I don't know how City have been getting so many plaudits this season. They're literally below us, and we've been pretty average. So
we've been hammered. Do you think we win, Steve?
United need to start making some tactical changes. You can't just roll plan A out every single week.
Give me one tactical change that you do that you think as a manager would get us over the line.
I don't risk Cunha because of the hamstring injury that he's got. I put Bruno into that front line alongside Sesko and Mbuemo and allow his sort of energetic pressing and desire to chase after every single ball to be effective. And I have a midfield that I tell you've got to sit, stop pushing on. Maybe one of you goes and puts pressure on the ball, but one's got to sit and screen. I know we haven't conceded on those transitions, but those transitions are making me pull my hair out. And I think we look okay. I would probably go with Mazraoui rather than Ahmad at right wing back as well. Just let's try and hit him on the counter and use Ahmad off the bench late in the game. Maybe Cunha off the bench late in the game. Go and try and nick it. We're going to try and win, but you got to keep it tight. You can't go and be like 5-0 down at half time at City. It's not going to go down well.
Yeah. I fancy us, I fancy us to at least get a draw. That's where I'm going.
Agreed. Guys, thank you very much for watching.
Easy.
And we will be back soon. Peace.